Well, hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to 2018 and welcome to season number 2 of the White Knuckle podcast powered by Ozonics. Undetectable, undeniable. As you can hear, there's some new music for this year that we hadn't released before and we're going to be using this year. So let us know how you feel about that. Put it in the comments below, maybe on Facebook, Instagram, or on our YouTube channel, wherever it is that you watch our show. Just a couple of quick notes with respect to our web show. It is going to be aired primarily on YouTube or on our website. You'll get a notice on Facebook that we've dropped a new episode, and believe me, you're not going to want to miss any of them. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then you're not going to miss any of the exclusive content that's going to be posted there on the YouTube channel or any of our shows. So with that, let's get the show started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the White Knuckle Podcast, Season 2, Episode number 1. Happy New Year. Todd and I have a great show for you today. We sit around and talk about what happened last year, talk about what's going to happen this year, and I tell you what, we could be more excited about everything that's coming around the bend here for 2018 and the podcast guests that we have, the web shows that we're going to have. As a team, our guys and gals did a exceptional job, and you'll hear us get into that. You'll also hear of Todd's grand idea for a dough scent dispersal machine that shoots dough scent up 5,000 feet in the air. You're not going to want to miss that one. But with that, let's start the show. Todd, what's going on over in Iowa? How's it going? Happy New Year.
Dude, it's cold, man.
That's no joke. It's ridiculously cold. Every day, I live on the Wisconsin River here, and every day I live on a real narrow channel, and every day the ice from each side of the shore gets closer and closer, which tells me it's not getting any warmer out. So yesterday we had a heat wave of 13. How's it been down in Iowa?
Dude, it's been a week I'll never forget. Probably a 5-year storm, maybe even a 10-year storm as far as weather for a period of time like this. I've never seen cold for an extended period. Usually you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 days like this per season, like below temperature highs or below zero temperature highs during the day. And we had a spell last week where it didn't get above 2 degrees, I think, for about 5 straight days. And man, I'm so thankful we were able to take advantage of it. It was the best hunting I've ever seen down here this time of year, and I ended up getting a crack at Katie's buck that we've been hunting for 4 years now. He's a 7-year-old. Nothing monstrous in the rack department, but this thing has eluded me forever. And I was able to get a crack at him for the first time ever with a muzzleloader. And so that was just fun in itself. But then we also had some very good friends of ours down hunting on our farm, Sam and Rebecca Wiersma from Wisconsin. And Sam's been involved in some properties with me here for a couple of years now, and they got a crack at a giant that literally, I mean, dude, talk about weather and food. This buck just showed up on my Spartan camera, like it was probably like 4 nights before or something. It was just boom, one random picture, and the way this buck's G5s, actually G2, 3, 4, his G4s laid, it was just a very recognizable rack. And so Sam and I were looking on my Spartan camera pics, and we both saw it about the same time. We're like, ooh, that's a really nice buck. And I guessed him at about 160 plus. I didn't know how big he was, but they ended up getting a crack at him and killed him at like 50 yards, and it ended up scoring 184. And it's a buck that I never even seen before. So that's what I call the bonus booner of the 2017 crazy cold front that we had here. And dude, it was about as cold as I could handle even hunting, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's based on what I've seen on social media, etc. There's been a lot of good deer taken this latest cold front here, at least. Yeah, well, you know what? Let's talk about the year ahead for 2018, which is what this show is going to be about. You obviously had, I think it's fair to say, the season of your life.
Oh, by far, man. I like just from the management standpoint, being able to see what year after year after year of working and putting all the time and energy in, and start to see it really paying off now is so. It's just a great feeling, I mean, you put so much time and energy in it. Believe me, man, I love to kill any mature big buck, but to kill some world class, truly top end whitetails that I just have not seen around here before. The last couple of years, it's kind of cool to grow them and to really follow them, get to know them, and I just know each year I learn so much. This is no exception. Like, I don't know, I just feel blessed. And as a team in general, I just got done watching. We're going through some of our new team members and putting some of the stories together for our next episodes. And just got done watching Donnie Monroe from Kansas. And, dude, his storyline and footage is absolutely awesome. Like, some of the best I've ever seen. And so, like, just exciting, man. We got so much going on and had such a great year. But at the same time, I feel like 2018 is going to be even better just from what we've learned from the last year.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption to make, because we've got a lot of cool stuff that's going to be happening, and some of it we can talk about now, and one of those things is we're partnered again with Real World Wildlife Products, and we're excited about that. We did plan a lot of their stuff this year and had really good success with it. Todd, you had some incredible success, not just in killing a deer, because I don't think you killed one. Actually, you did kill Donnie Roscoe in Deadly Dozen food plot, but they've got some exciting stuff coming. We've got some exciting stuff coming. It's going to be a fun year. But let's just go through. The different. So you shot Donnie Roscoe, you shot Walter Payton, the buck, and you shot Katie's buck. And Donnie shot a Boone and Crockett class animal. Clint, I don't know what the score was on his. He got a couple of them. One was with a gun. I don't know that he videoed that. I know that they called that deer Bad Grandpa. Let's see here. Scott Hemmen down there in Illinois shot we'll call it a management deer. He had sort of made a commitment to shoot the deer earlier in the year if he saw it, because it was wounded and he didn't think it was going to make it through the year. So he ended up taking that deer. Lucas Wright up in Michigan took one in Illinois. I got one here on public land in Wisconsin. I know I'm forgetting someone.
I know Bruce Ripka killed a real nice buck up in Michigan with his gun, I believe, as well. And then we got Rebecca slamming that giant, and she, amazingly, the video camera they were using, they had charged before they went out to the hunt. He had 150 minutes or something, he said, when they were doing their interviews, and by the time they shot, it was probably 8 to 10 below zero, and the battery died literally with this buck walking right into him. So they did get some pre-roll of it walking in, but, hey, it happens, man. It was so cold, dude, I couldn't even film. Like, my camera arm and my head were so rock solid because it was so cold. Like, the fluid heads just freeze. And I literally, the last day I hunted with a bow, I was holding my bow and trying to move my camera arm and going, if a buck comes in, unless it just comes and stands and like wants to literally commit harry-carry, I don't even know how I could actually self-film with a bow right now. It was just so cold. Yeah, dude. Talk about a heck of a season, and not only that, it's great to kill a buck, but it's not so much for that me anymore. It's the adventure, and so I know we have so many other team members that also contributed. Walter Eastling, another good buddies up in Michigan, just because you don't kill a buck doesn't mean that it wasn't a good season either. That's the big thing I learned years ago is you got to make yourself happy. Don't worry about what everybody else thinks.
And that's the one thing since getting into the business part of this whole adventure that you've let me come along on is the thing that I hear people say the most that they appreciate is our authenticity and the fact that we're just, we've all got jobs. None of us are getting paid big coin by any sponsors. Yeah, we have sponsors, and they pay us in one way or another. But by and large, we've got other ways that fund our life, and we're just regular guys and gals, doing what it is that we love. Speaking of gals, Katie didn't get one this year, which is odd.
No. Bummed out.
I know. I'm sure you're going to never hear the end of that. But Heidi Manley, one of our team members, she and Mike Ernst, our boyfriend girlfriend, she went out and filmed her first ever self-filmed buck kill. Obviously, self-film suggests that she did it by herself, but all by herself. So that was an accomplishment in and of itself. So that'll be a fun episode to watch. We just got a ton of stuff coming down the pipe.
That girl's a killer too. She's a tough chick, and she knows how to get it done. And the fact that she went out and self-filmed it and did it all on her own is just, man, it's right up our alley, because that's the type of people we are, and I think that's the type of people who our audience are people that work hard and make it happen.
Well, yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. I was just talking with John Eberhardt before you and I got on the line here, and we were talking about just our demographics, and we were talking about him coming on a podcast, and John is going to do that for us, and talk about deer hunting with Todd and those two are going to swap strategies. Todd, you didn't know that, but you do now.
I'm looking forward to that one. He's a legend.
He is. Yep. Yeah, he is. He's fun to talk to. But more than anything, he's just an average. And I don't want to say he's just an average guy, but he's just a guy that loves hunting as much as we do, and that's our audience. So, in terms of web shows, you're going to see a little bit different format than what you've seen from us in the past. Nothing real big, but. I don't have any way to quantify the inches of antler killed, but it's got to be one of our best seasons recently in terms of getting some good bucks laid out on the ground. That's for sure.
And the footage to back it, because that's the other part when you're White Knuckle Productions, because we're a little bit more laid back on who we have on our team, because we want real hunters, real people, not just people on huge farms with big money. We would rather have a little more of a realistic team. Well, with that being said, sometimes you sacrifice quality, but I'll tell you, I'm just so impressed with what I've seen so far from our team, for some of our new guys, and even myself. I think you start to watch some of the other guys and I review all the footage. Jason does as well, and Kyle. And for me, it kind of like keeps me motivated through the season to take the time to set up a camera and get that B-roll shot that you might not have. So that's part of my motivation, is all you guys too. So, and even our fans, when we get emails and messages that talk about what they like about our show or how it helped them kill a big buck, man, that's just fuel for our fire. So we love to hear any feedback you always have for us. But we're real hunters, dude. We don't hunt with outfitters, and that's where I think one of the biggest differences, probably in all of us and our business, is that we spend probably twice the amount of money we make on our own farms and hunting and just our passion for it. This is not something we make a lot of money doing. I think it's pretty representative in the footage and in the stories and who we are and the way our productions lay out, that you can definitely tell we're not that company that has 450 sponsors and we're pushing every scent elimination product or scent dispersal way of blowing doe pee 5,000 feet in the air, and it's the latest and greatest and newest thing. We're a little bit more old school. But I swear, if you could blow doe pee 5,000 feet in the air, that might actually bring them in from a major distance. That'd be pretty cool. But you guys
next
get
product
it.
To design.
Oh, it just, that kind of stuff drives us nuts too. So because we don't hunt with outfitters means we're basically putting our own money on the line, and that's why you won't see probably as many quality or as many quantity kills as some of the other shows. But boy, we sure take pride in the ones we do knock down, and it's the journey, not the destination. I actually, after just killing the Katie's buck, it was like really strange, but he has been around my farm for 4 years now, and I think of all the different seasons and all the stories and all the time I mentioned his name in interviews and tried to kill him. It's like, I don't know what to do anymore, man. Like, what buck's going to take his place? But Yeah, what can you say? Those deer, I just have so much respect for them, especially coming out of this cold front. We just got through hunting, and it's still colder than the bejesus here. But just those animals, man, I just earn more respect for them every year we hunt them.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to have, in terms of podcasts, we're going to make it a point to have each of our team members on, or a team, whether it's a couple or a couple of guys. We're going to have them on throughout the year, just so you can get to know them a little bit better. Because we think that it's important that you know their whole story, and we'll definitely get those folks on. But I'll ask them the same question I'm going to ask you. What's your best and worst memory for the year?
Oh man, the worst would have to be a tie. Watching Walter Payton walk away on Halloween night, knowing I screwed up. And the second worst one would be knowing I had just missed DL. That was definitely, those two moments are a tie for the worst. I guess DL would probably be a little bit better than Walter Payton, because at least Walter Payton's dead. So, and I got to kill that deer and everything. So that was pretty sweet. But that was the worst. My best was probably... absolutely, without a doubt, the best moment of my season was when I looked and saw Walter Payton laying dead. I couldn't believe it. So that's an easy one for me.
I would guess so. Yeah, that's what I would have guessed.
I could go on and on about that, but man, just the story. We put that story together. Not certain when we're going to actually launch it. We're kind of contemplating exactly how we want to lay it out yet this year, but. Yeah, man, all I can tell you is I can't wait to share that Walter Payton story. Donnie Brasco is just as good. There's just, man, some of the best footage I've ever laid down. That's probably what I'm most proud of this season, is just some of the footage that I was able to take. And
yeah, you did a great job. I got to watch that episode as well. And just FYI, obviously Todd's show will be airing at some point, not right away here, but Donnie Monroe's show will drop on the Thursday that this show... Thursday of the week that this show is dropped. We're going to be down at the ATA show next week in Indianapolis. We'll have some live coverage, so watch for us on Facebook with some live coverage there. And so it's going to be a busy week on social media for us. It's going to be a busy week on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, just a quick plug for that, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But Donnie's show will release next week. This show that we're recording right now will release Monday morning. And where were we? Best and worst moments of my season. Oh, boy. I think probably the best moment, without a doubt, was getting back to the truck after having dragged that buck that I shot out of public land. Getting back to the truck and sitting there, catching my breath, knowing that I had killed a deer that, for me, just personally, and I'm not asking for anyone else's acceptance, just it personally validated for me just my ability to go out and get it done on a foreign piece of property, that everyone had the same opportunity that I did, and I was happy with that. It wasn't the biggest buck I've ever shot. It's going to go on the wall next to the biggest bucks that I've ever shot, but I think it's probably the one that I'm the most proud of. The worst moment, it probably was knowing that I wasn't able to get all of it on video. And honestly, at that point in time, when I thought that there was a chance that the deer wasn't in frame when I was about ready to pull the trigger, but honestly, I just didn't care. I was there to complete a task, and that was to kill the deer on public land, and I was able to document 95% of it, but I unfortunately didn't get all of it. But we'll save the rest of that for the show. The getting the guns pulled on me, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but those weren't fun moments. I thought I might die once.
How you got guns pulled on you?
Dude, yeah, I haven't talked about that a whole lot. Yeah, twice. Not like pull on me like, hey, dude, I'm going to shoot you. But like, yeah, when you're hunting some of the properties that I hunted, some of the people aren't as up on the rules and regulations as they should be. And I had an overzealous family member, block my vehicle, wait with a gun. Fortunately, I've got, a little bit of law enforcement experience, and I'm in the car business, so I know how to talk as well, and I was able to talk my way out of that situation.
Well, what you're not telling everybody is you are also a concealed carry permit, and we'll just put it this way: that neighbor will never be complaining to any hunter ever.
Right. Oh man, this dude had like everything. Like, so there was a 2-track out of there, and we had gotten permission to. So the law says that you have to park on the road and walk to the area that's open to public hunting. Well, we had called the landowner and said, "Hey, would you mind if we used your 2-track to get back to your pole shed and park there?" And he said, "Absolutely not." So he had given us permission, and this guy thought that he had given us permission only for a day, and it just so happened that I was there 2 months later, and I came down the hill and I knew that it was going to be I kind of felt like someone was there looking for me, just because when I was sitting in the timber hunting, I could hear a 4-wheeler or an ATV, UTV, whatever, going back and forth, and I just thought, God, it almost sounds like somebody's looking for something, and so I was cautious when I came back to my truck, and when I got back to my truck, I was standing there, or I got close to my truck, I just stopped. And all of a sudden I saw the flick of a lighter. I don't believe I didn't tell you this, Todd. But I saw the flick of a lighter and I went, oh crap. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? And so what I did is, I remote started.
Was it a pipe bomb? He was trying to blow you out?
No. He was lighting a cigarette.
Smoking you out.
Yeah, going to smoke me out. And so I just remote started my truck, and the headlights were pointed in his direction, and oh my God, when I lit him up, there he was with a gun and everything, and I'm just going, oh boy. But he didn't have my position at that point, and not that I went all SEAL Team 6 on him or anything like that. I just realized that I didn't have my gun that I normally would carry with me, because I was behind a fence, and I just finally said, hey, what's up? And he had a few expletives, and we exchanged. I had a calm conversation with him, and was able to get in my truck and put my stuff away and get my my gun, at least in the back of my belt, just in case things went badly. And I was able to talk my way out of there. Called the landowner. He was super cool about it. He apologized. Fortunately, the sheriff's department didn't get involved. He was willing to do that, and I just didn't see any need for it. And I actually did go back and didn't have any trouble. But and then I had another instance when I was scouting where a guy just came up like he was Steven Seagal and got out of his truck and jacked around in the chamber of an 870, and I basically told him to get back in his truck before he wasn't able to get back in his truck, kind of, I guess. Talked my way out of both situations. So anyway.
Well, Jason, I think you pretty much highlighted why there's about one TV show or web show or DVD company out there who really pushes public land hunting, because this is the stuff that you just deal with.
Yeah, I mean that there's definitely an element that folks go through. Public hunting. Here's one thing that I learned. It's, I think and listen, I want to preface all this by saying I'm not taking away from anybody that hunts public land, because I've hunted public land. But I want to just say that there's challenges on both sides, whether it's public or private, that you don't have to deal with on, whether if you're hunting public land, you don't have to deal with some things that you deal with on private land, and vice versa. So I don't know that one's necessarily harder, just in terms of just killing an animal. And you've done both, Todd, so you can tell me whether you agree or not. I don't know that one's harder than the other. There's just different challenges. So
the reason why I quit hunting public was because I got a great dose of it growing up. I was able to hunt 15, 16 years up on Michigan public land. And then I started hunting some private pieces.
Lucky you.
I just started noticing that, like, pretty much on public land, it was more about staying away from people and, like, dealing with people than it was actually dealing with or hunting an actual deer. So I enjoyed hunting the deer and the whitetail side of things, trying to figure them out. My goal along the way was not try to figure out other hunters and try to figure out other landowners. But with that being said, I dealt with this kind of stuff just getting permission to hunt private properties over the years and all that. So eventually now, I own my own property, 63-acre piece, and then I'm able to lease a couple of other adjacent pieces so that I don't have to worry about the people factor as much. But with that being said, I mean, I still got a picture of a truck driving around at prime time right through the middle of my plots, on one of my leases. And there's things you just can't control. But to me, I'd rather control or try to control the deer than other people. Because in general, that's what I've learned over the years is generally people are the ones that make it harder than the actual deer itself. But you know what? Some guys enjoy that challenge. They like the fact that they have to work around other people, and to them, it's the challenge. And where for me, it's more the challenge with these big deer and then like self-filming these hunts. So really, it just depends on what you enjoy. I know my good friend, Jared Scheffler from Whitetail Adrenaline, one of my best buddies. We respect each other very much so. He's a killer, and he's a hard work killer. He's been all over the Goddamn place hunting all these public land and stuff. But that's what he enjoys. He enjoys finding those spots that anybody else could access if they put the work in. But that's what they enjoy doing, is the public land factor more so than anything. And you can definitely tell that in our previous conversations we had and stuff like that. It's to them, they could get on all this private land, but he's so adamant about doing it 100% on public. He refuses to go get permission to hunt that buck over there because it's on private land. And to me, it's asinine. I can't believe you wouldn't do it. But hey, dude, to each their own. That's what makes America great. Is that you can do whatever the heck you want. And in our world, as far as hunting goes, we have it made. The United States does. Because if you know anything about anywhere else in the world, Canada's pretty good too. But anywhere else in the world, it's just money talks, and the regular citizens of the world don't have access to the lands and don't have any control over it. Well, here you can go out and get lost on a lot of public land. So it doesn't matter where you're at. That's the beauty of this country. And Jason, that's what I appreciate about your season is that gave us some more public land topics to discuss. And I'll tell you, a lot of guys who listen to the show hunt public land, and we're not trying to isolate or we want everybody to learn something from our show, whether you're hunting public land, hunting 2,000-acre private tracts, and your parents own a professional football team. It doesn't matter. We all got the same blood running through our veins, and we've all got that passion for whitetails.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a ton of fun. And if there's one thing that I took away a ton of things, but the coolest thing that I took away is just learning how deer use that property and how they use different properties differently, and just learning to acknowledge what was right in front of me, if that makes any sense. Kind of feels like it doesn't make sense, but you'll see it in the episode. But let's talk real quick. We don't want to make this a tremendously long show since it's sort of our kickoff for the 2018 year. But in terms of podcasts, we're going to have a bunch of people on. Some of the guests that you're used to seeing, like I'm sure we'll have Dan Infalt on. We're going to have John Eberhard on. We're going to have Kevin Boyer from Real World Wildlife Products share his experience with not only just the seed part of the business, but his experience with the outdoor industry overall. We're going to have Don Higgins talk about killing the buck named Trump and the buck named Smokey.
That was a good show, too.
That was, yep. A
really good show. And we got Alex Rutledge planning on coming on in the future as well, who, if any of us all have been following, any of the shows over the years, he's been a huge part of it. So, what I've told Jason, too, in the past is, it's as much fun for me to interview a no-name, I wouldn't say a no-name, but somebody who's not a professional, who's just a good hunter, you always pick and you learn stuff from them. And then to get a veteran, guys who've been in the industry for 100 years and been on more hunts than, all of us combined, it's always interesting for me to pick all these different brains. So I think that's what our goal is. We want to bring as large of a variety of a panel of guests as we can, and that doesn't necessarily mean just these hunting celebrities, because I'll tell you, there's a lot of big buck whitetail killers out there who you've never heard of, and a lot of times those are the guys that can really teach you something. So we're going to be seeking any and all of those, and if you know somebody who needs to be on our show, let us know about it.
Yeah, and by all means, don't think that you don't qualify as a listener to be on the show. Like, if you have some, any level of success that you feel that you'd like to share, we'd certainly like to listen, because believe it or not, we're always picking up stuff from every one of our guests, whether it's, Dan Infault or Jared Scheffler, or a guy as common as Brad Lamont was. We pick up little things along the way, and it's a cumulative result. The cumulative result is you end up shaping kind of how you're going to hunt, and as you learn those little things. So, yeah, I'm excited. We're going to have Alex Foster. I talked with Kip Adams yesterday from the QDMA, and Kip's a great guy, and we had him on the show before, but we're going to go a little bit different direction there. We're going to have Alex Foster get on the line. He's a biologist, and he's going to talk about QDMA and cooperatives and things of that nature. So he's the representative for QDMA in southeast Iowa and northern Missouri. So I picked a guy, Todd, that would be close to your area.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about hunting, we're going to talk about deer, and then we're going to talk about QDMA and what they offer in terms of cooperatives. Because I think, one of the big misconceptions out there is that QDMA is just an organization, and you go to their banquet and you spend a bunch of money on raffles, and that's it. But there's just a ton of resources that people can use that they don't understand. And don't think that because you don't own any acres, or you only own 40 acres or 20 acres, that QDMA can't do something to help you. So, because they definitely can. We've talked with Kip Adams before. We know a lot about their program. So we'll have them on. We'll do a shed show. We'll do all the stuff that we normally do. But the bottom line here is that if you have something that you'd like to see or hear, please, put it in the comments under this show and on Facebook, and we'll definitely do our best to get that guest on.
Oh, no, the one thing too I want everybody to know is, no matter what time of year it is, as we're producing these shows, always in the back of my mind is I want to keep people kind of in tune on what I'm doing this time of year, so that if they're trying to improve their season going into next year, there's no better time than right now. And there's always something that can be done and needs to be done at any particular time of the year. So we like to have guests on, and Jason and I, we've had them in the past where they kind of fit into what I'm working on that particular time of year. So like habitat, like coming up is going to be shed season, habitat improvement, and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, we're going to find a way to put a new twist on anything. That's the one thing I can guarantee about our show is it's not just the same old. I'm really, really pushing my limits here to the absolute extreme as far as management goes. I've been able to produce some really incredible results in the last few years, and with what I've learned from not only just doing it myself, but also in the last year, and from guys like Don Higgins, and I'm not too proud to beg. Anybody that can help me achieve my dream and my goals, I will absolutely listen. And I'll tell you, it is. It's exciting, man. It's an exciting time for White Knuckle, and I can't wait to see what's coming around the corner, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have Terry Peer, who is the marketing guy from Real World Wildlife Products. Boy, that's a tongue twister to say. But
Real World.
Yeah, exactly. Terry's going to come on and just talk. Terry's got a tremendous amount of experience, just not on the marketing side, but on the pro staff side, and talk about, there's a lot of folks that want to get involved on teams and things of that nature. He's going to talk about how to best accomplish that. So
you might hear a lot of plugs about Real World on our show, but there's a reason for it. I've been using the stuff now for, I think, 6 years, something like that, 5 or 6 years. I've been using their beans for years, and then that that harvest salad plot, and I'll tell you, man, this year was no exception. That stuff just is absolutely awesome. And so we're going to make your food plotting success this year a little bit easier with some of our tips and tactics. Very blue collar. I use an ATV to do all my plots. And guys make fun of me for it because I don't own a tractor, but I would say my results stack up against anybody's with half of the equipment. And part of that success is because of Real World, because they produce the best seed in the world, and it just plain works. It draws in deer from all over, and you will beat your neighbor's plot. I guarantee it.
And if you think that you can't do it with an ATV, Todd and I will show you this year that you can. I'm going to be hunting down in Iowa with Todd, so I will be down there as much as humanly possible and helping out with putting in food plots and things of that nature. But that equipment that we have, the Kuhn's engineering equipment, is absolutely capable of doing every bit of work that you need it to do to put in a tremendous food plot. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, my principle for a lot of things, and my slogan is start small, think big. And you know, for me, I was in the same boat. I couldn't afford to drop any big money on a tractor and to borrow equipment. You got to have it when the time is there. You know, so it's all about controlling your destiny. So for me, what worked the best was I was able to get an ATV, and then I actually was a customer of Kuhn's before we even talked about promoting them, because it fit the bill for what I needed. It was in the price range. It's not cheap stuff, but I'm the type of person, if I buy something, I want it to last. And Kuhn's is the only ATV equipment out there that is truly built to last, at least with the range of different capabilities. And that's what I love about their equipment, is it's very, very versatile. You can, I don't care if you live in Florida, Maryland, Washington, or in Iceland, and that was something I wanted to mention about Kuhn's. They're a small plot company. It's basically farm equipment for your ATV. It's just miniaturized in a small package. So they actually send these tillers and some of their equipment by a container load overseas over to Europe, because there's a lot of small-time farming operations there, because land is nowhere near as available as it is here. So they actually sell this equipment to professional farmers in, I think he told me it was, I don't remember if it was in Iceland or the Netherlands, but it was someplace over in Europe. And he said that's how a lot of their food producers, they do mini crop growing, because it's not the U.S. So everything's smaller over there. And so that's the equipment they rely on literally to, grow their food, make a living. So that stuff is unbelievable. And even if you own all the big equipment, I'll tell you, what I really learned this season is the effectiveness of kill plots in the right locations. And like Jason, you've seen the one over in the sanctuary where I killed Donnie Brasco, and it took 3 years to get it right, but now I've turned it into a social networking hotspot with a big buck bedding area within 100 yards, and it has turned into a whitetail killing machine area. I mean, it's just insane. So now I'm going to be doing more and more of those, but dude, the spot that it's in out there's no way you're getting a tractor out there. I mean, there's no way.
No, there'd be no way you could get one in there. It's impossible.
I have to go up an embankment. Literally, I bought a winch for my ATV just in case I need it. I actually was able to get my equipment up this embankment, but that's where I'm finding, man, is the effectiveness. And plus, if you're hunting with a bow, you can't expect to shoot something with a bow out of a ground blind if they have an option of going around your blind at 500 yards. So what I've really tuned in my setups now is, especially when I'm doing any of this, doing any land management where I'm cutting trees down, knocking briars down, mowing down stuff, I just make these huge piles, and then that's where I piles of brush, trees, whatever, and then I just find a way to get my blind hidden right in there. And as long as you can kind of get your blind in that same area around the same time you're doing all that work, it seems like it just kind of turns into a part of, hey, that timber company was up in there and they did some work, and that ground blind is just another stump that was left behind, so to speak. So I know I've got 3 more planned already this year, my ultra kill plots, and that's what I found to be really effective with a bow out of a ground blind, especially during the rut. You can catch those bucks at 20, 30 yards in front of them blinds if they're just used to it, and it's another part of the terrain.
Right on. Gosh, anything else you want to talk about before we close this out for the day?
Mostly, I just want to thank you, Jason. You've done a heck of a job putting these podcasts together, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who appreciate it as well. And so I just want to thank you from the bottom of both myself and Katie's heart. You've done an exceptional job, and we couldn't be more proud to have you as a partner. And I'd also like to thank Kyle Reindeers, who has continued to always be a blessing in my life, not only as a Christian mentor and just an all-around great person, but Kyle's been the secret to my success all these years, and I just appreciate his continued work for us, because he's certainly doing it out of passion, not out of reward, at least financially. And then lastly, I would just really, really like to give a deep heart thanks to all of our fans and the people who make this possible, because without you, we would just be talking to each other on a Skype, whatever it is. And I think you guys are the reasons we're doing it. So we appreciate your time, and if you can help us spread the word about our product, about our show in any way, shape, or form, we greatly appreciate it. And hopefully we can help you kill a giant buck this next season.
Yeah, and again, I just want to reiterate to everyone, don't be afraid to comment on Facebook, comment on Instagram, on what you'd like to see. Please.
And also, I'd like to send a personal invitation to any of our fans out there. I'm maxed out on 5,000 friends on Facebook on my personal page, but check out Todd Pringnet's professional page. You can become one of my friends on there. Shoot me private messages. I answer every single private message. It may take me a while to get back to you, but this time of year is the perfect time to hit me up if you have any questions. And I really enjoy that engagement. It kind of keeps me moving. So please go on there and like not only our White Knuckle page, but my professional page. And then I'll keep you posted on what I'm doing, even if you don't see it on the White Knuckle page throughout the year. But it's we're always doing something whitetail related, and I think that's the nuts and bolts of our show. If you want to learn about coyote hunting, I'd go someplace else. This is all about whitetails.
That blows my idea for having a coyote hunting show.
I actually have an idea. My Uncle Eric's a coyote killing machine. I'm going to go actually play around with it. But I think you get the gist of it. The rest of the season is pretty much usually in preparation and or delay, waiting for, October 1st to roll around, or for you guys late September or whatever.
Pretty interesting, and one that will be fun to watch. So watch for some announcements from Ozonics here over the course of the next couple weeks. We're going to be at the ATA show this week, so look for some Facebook Live videos, and then look for a show next Monday about what we saw at the ATA show. With that, I hope you have a great week, and God bless. Jason out.